Who doesn't want a great passive money making method? After all, why do you think so many rich people invest in real estate? Well, they don't do nothing, but you get what I mean. Surely the dream is to be paid for doing nothing. Well, thankfully, we can definitely do that in Skyblock. There's many passive money making methods in Hypixel Skyblock. However, ironically, the one that I neglect the most is the easiest one to actually get good at. And when I say get good at, I just mean have a good setup. Minions are really important, and I've had these Mel minions for so long, and I don't really know why. Minions are not only good for clearing up the last few collections that you need to max out, but can also be serious money makers. Now, many people are aware of slime minions. I mean, so many people have made videos on slime minions and how good they are. And sure, they're great, but they used to be better. At the end of the day, the prices that you sell these items for that actually make you the money that you get from the minions are to the bizarre, and these prices are variable. So if more people have those minions down, the prices are naturally going to drop as there's going to be more supply, meaning that over time they become less profitable. An unsuspecting minion like a gravel minion surely could never compete. Or can it? Is this the new best thing? You see, unlike Inferno minions, which can make a ton of coins, you don't have to rely on complete and utter RNG, or worry about being banned and wiped by accidentally taking advantage of an exploit that you have no idea about. So today we're going to put the gravel minion up against the slime minion, because the slime minion is just like the old consistent, machine that just keeps running in the background. Okay, it never changes, it's always going to be good. Sometimes it's better than others. But I've got a sneaking suspicion that this gravel minion could really be good, and so I've been told. So before we go any further into this video, if you are planning on purchasing anything from the Hypixel store, make sure to use code NITROS, it gets yourself 5% off. Also, you should subscribe to the channel, it does help out a lot. And you should join the Discord server, it's linked in the description of this video. We offer slayers and dungeon carries, so if you need carries or want to carry and make some coins, make sure to join. Now we already have a tier 11 gravel minion. We don't have a slime minion, so we're going to have to craft one. Okay, so we should now be able to craft this into a tier 11, which is going to be the same tier as our gravel minion, which only makes sense. We just have to surround this to make it into tier 11. I'm sure I could have just bought that for way cheaper, but anyway. You see, the key thing about both of these minions is the time between actions is relatively low, which is partially the reason why they're good. However, you can't just place both of these minions down like they are and expect them to be good. So for the slime minion, we're going to need corrupt soil to make it good, which is 1.4 mil right away. We'll also need an enchanted lava bucket, also an enchanted hopper, which is another 1.3 mil, and also a minion expander. So yeah, for the gravel minion we'll need a flint shovel, an enchanted lava bucket, and also a super compactor. Of course we're going to have storages too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place both minion downs for exactly 24 hours. We're going to come back in 24 hours time and see how much each minion has made. We can then times that by 30 or whatever to get basically how much we're going to make for a full normal setup per day. And I want to see what the difference is actually like. Yeah, so at 10 minutes past 1 tomorrow, I will check and we'll see how they've gone on. Just to clarify, I'm not going to AFK or anything. I know you can make more money through AFK and slime minions. However, to be honest, with the cost of living at the moment and the, the actual cost of the electric bill already, I don't feel like that burden is really necessary just to get a few extra Skyblock coins, if I'm being completely honest. Now, of course, the great thing about this gravel setup is, well, you don't actually get gravel, you get flint, which is substantially more profitable. Anyway, let's wait and see till tomorrow. So, it has been exactly 1 day, and it's time to see, okay, we're teleporting back, it's time to see how many coins we've made from both of these minions, as we have a stray slime. Okay, so, from the enchanted hopper, it looks like what we got, 154k, which we will collect, and I guess just everything else we have in here too, which is an extra 17.8k. So that's around about 172k from one slime minion. Whereas if we go over to our gravel minion, it looks like we have 28 enchanted flint. So we'll go ahead and collect. Then we'll go to the bazaar and we can sell that for... Where's it gone? It went into my mining sack, okay. Yeah, we can sell that for 157k. So we'll go ahead and do that. Which means that from actually the items just in our enchanted hopper, in the slime minion and our flint minion actually made around about the same amount of money. And actually the flint minion made slightly more, which is very interesting. Anyway, let's times our rates by 30. So assuming you had 30 minion slots and 30 minions placed, you would make around about 5.1 million coins per day from this slime setup, and around about 4.7 million from this gravel minion, which is actually quite good. There's really not much difference. And I guess, to be honest, that's why a lot of people are moving on to different minions. For example, right here, we have a vertex, which you can drop from Inferno minions. Of course, the cost to get a good Inferno minion setup is much greater of a gravel or a flint, but one singular vertex sells for 8 million coins. And if you had, for instance, 30 tier 5 Inferno minions placed, not even tier 10 or 11, of course that would be way more expensive, then the projected amount of vertexes that you would get is around about 22. Which means that if you times 8 by 22, that would be your daily income. Of course, there's a much bigger investment, but that's kind of crazy when you consider that that's more than just 30 of these minions per day. You've got that from one minion, essentially. Obviously, you have to fuel the minions, so it isn't cheap. But yeah, you also have the chance of getting an Apex as well, which is like 1 billion coins. I guess one thing you have to think about with a slime minion as well is, of course, because it fills up so quickly, you're pretty much forced to have an enchanted hopper in there, which only actually gets you 90% of the sell value as if you would actually collect them and then sell the items. So imagine if you could actually have a storage big enough to collect all of the items and essentially gain an extra 10% of the coins. Even with selling it for cheaper, it is better than the flip minion by a little bit. Anyway, it'd be interesting to know if any of you guys have tried any other minions that have been really good for money. I am actually quite pleasantly surprised at a gravel minion though, if I'm being completely honest. At least to me, a gravel minion is not something that sounds like it would be really good for money, but it turns out it really isn't bad. At the end of the day, metas change. I remember back in the day when snow minions used to be by far the best thing for money. And then when the Crimson Elves came out, quartz minions were ridiculously good for money. Like, there's been contenders and there's always metas, and I guess there's always going to be metas in the future as well when new updates come out. Some other minions are going to take off and be really good, but for now, these are not bad. Anyway, that's going to just about wrap up today's video. I hope you've all enjoyed. If you have, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.